Alright, today we're going to be attempting to put this extra spring on our Dodge Ram over here. So I bought this one from Advance. You can get them off, well, you can get them at any basically local parts store, or they can order them for you. The cheapest way would probably go on the internet and just purchase this through eBay, Amazon, or Walmart.com. And you could probably get it a few bucks cheaper. So yeah, I'm going to attempt to install this. Basically all it does is, like it says right here, it pushes down on your softer part of the spring out here and pulls the other end of the spring up a little bit, and it gives that little bit of spring extra capacity to haul. And you know, I'm going to be pulling a trailer with that truck, so we're going to see if it will help the ride level. Alright, so we got the hitch hooked up out here, the trailer. As you can see, it's pretty low to the ground. It's only about maybe a foot off the ground there. So we only have about a foot of clearance. So I'm hoping to increase at least an inch or so. If you found yourself out on the road and you needed just some extra weight gain in your truck, if it was riding too low, you could always go by one of the auto parts stores and pick these up. And you could basically just use this jack on the front of your thing if you got one like this. And you can block it up and screw it up as high as it will go and lift the back of the truck up. Take the weight off the springs, and then you can go ahead and slap them in underneath there as long as you got one wrench to tighten those down with. And then you know, you can basically throw them on the side of the road somewhere if you had to, or in the parking lot, and then see if that actually helped you on the way. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. You could actually do this real quick, probably about 30 minutes aside. Or you give you a little extra time, but somewhere around there. So what I did was I just put the jack underneath here with 2 blocks of wood underneath the hitch area, picked it up, and then put some jack stands on each side of it, and then we'll go ahead and install. So basically it's just going to sit in between this portion, probably right here, and back up there near the leaf spring perch. You want to try to get it far back as possible. Just this one has a longer bottom spring to sit down on. So I'm going to have to try to figure that out. But anywhere where these springs start touching all the way across is where you want to set your first U-bolt across there for the tensioner spring. And then tighten it all down. Alright, so here it is, partially installed. The thing I ran into is I don't want to get it packed past this opening here. There's a little wedge up in there. I want to get it as close to that wedge as possible so I'm not pinching it down and actually pulling it down more than I have to. To get it just right, then I'm going to have to put it right at the very end of this spring, which I don't really like, but it should do. But I had to cut off this little piece. You see how that one sticks down about a quarter of an inch or so. So I had to take this and cut this off with a hacksaw blade. Somewhat flush. It's still got a little bit, but should push it up in or flatten it out a little bit. But now I should be able to get that metal plate sitting up in there a little bit flatter. So because before that I wanted to keep pushing it off to the back side. So I'm going to basically just sit it right down against that one right there. Might not be the best solution, but that's about the only one I've got right now, because you can see that little wedge I slid in between the springs there. I guess to give it a little more of a turn up on it. But if I go any farther back than what I am right there, I'm actually going to be just have a big opening down in there. So didn't really want to do that, so that's about the only other option I've got, is to put it right there and see what happens. Alright. Alright, so there it is installed. It's all up and tight. I usually do it, these you're going to probably have to use a wrench unless you got a bigger pack of springs. But I had to use a wrench about another ½ inch or so up in there because my deep well ran out of room. Either a 3/4 or a 19mm to put these up on. A wrench will do. It'll just take you forever to get them up there. So after I was done, I took some super glue and I used it as Loctite and put it all around the top of these, and on some of the threads a little bit of the ways down, just to keep it, in case it did come loose and rattled out, it won't just drop all the way off going down the road. So it will still be on there, hopefully. Alright, so I'm going to move to the other side here, and we'll get it done. Alright, so they're both installed on each side now. I'm going to let down the truck and see what kind of heights we've got now. Alright, so now we're sitting at about 36.5 inches off the ground. About 6 7/8 off the top of the tire. So we've raised it a good 1.25 inches or so. Not too bad. Next we'll be hooking it up to the trailer and see what kind of heights we got then. Alright, so I got the trailer hooked up and I've got the jack off the ground. Let's see. So all the weight sitting on the tongue. I parked, put this block here so I knew exactly where I was last time. Got 36 and almost 1/4, in between an 1/8 and 1/4 there. Somewhere between 6.5 and 6 5/8 then. There she is installed. Still got some downward, at least in between the wheel openings here and here. Looks like still, once I get it flat, I got the trailer hooked up. So yeah, I think it'll work.